Look into the darkness. Find the blazing star and let it become the eclipse. Purification of the soul. When the soul resurrects.
I want these crew members leaving. Get these ear sets off of me. I've had enough. Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark-sided.
I'm glad you're home.
Get the hell out of my house. In Jesus' name, I pray. I've had enough.
Alma, just sit. Mom, come sit with us.
Did you talk about astrology?
That was it. Oh, man.
That was perfect.
What is that?
That was amazing. Hey, don't cut that out. Keep all that in.
I don't
That
think
was
you.
kind of dope as fuck.
What's going on?
Just real quick to let people know that whole thing with the lamps burning in within my eyes. I got that from actually Empedocles. He used to believe that we had Aphrodite. It was like a dancing flame in the back of our eyes. That's where I got that from.
Hey, guys.
Hey, bud.
What's up, Ethan?
Did we just start?
Dude, you're right on time, brother.
I'm so blessed. Greetings.
All right.
Greetings.
Yo, Web of Mysteries. What's going on, man? Aren't you going to start off the show? I mean, this is for you, right?
Web.
He's like, dude, people are showing up. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome to the Web of Mysteries, y'all. And with that being said, Mr. Nick from the Occult Rejects, may you plug in where you from?
Yeah, from recently moved from New York to North Carolina. 48 years old. I'm in Greenville, single.
Like take long walks on the beach. No,
yeah, no, from the Occult Rejects. Yeah, on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all your major podcast hosts. And we do have the occultresearchinstitute.org. And check that out if you like to read. There's a bunch of stuff on there. And I actually have tons of shit I got to add too. So there might be a lot of stuff coming. So I just got to dump scripts in there and pretty much it's good to go. So check that out. I'm going to start putting out my herbs actually. I do plan on making a book out of it, but I guess a raw unedited form will be dropped on the website. So I will start to put that up on there. So check that out. The herbs and the 12 cranial nerves. But thank you very much, man, for Sam, for having us on. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it's always an honor to have you on, Bubba. And it's always an honor to come on your show. Mr. Headless Giant, where are you from, Bubba? Like, where can they catch you at?
You can find me on YouTube and on X. I am a feral fucking pagan, a Hellenist, and you can catch my shows on Tuesdays with Nick, where we go over the Kabbalah of Aleister Crowley. You can catch me with Ethan on Sundays with the Trilogue, and you can catch me with Jules doing the Rustic Gods. So check those out. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir. And you, Mr. Jules?
Yeah, what's going on? Webb, it's good to meet you, man. I saw two of y'all when I first came in, but I didn't know your name, so I figured I'd just call you Webb. Sam, it's good to meet you, brother. And good to be here. I'm glad you're hosting tonight. You give Nick a break. But guys, what's going on? Jules, you know me. If you've seen the show before, then you know me. The handsome Hierophant, the Mississippi Mystic, the Elohim etymologist, host of Gray Pilled Podcast. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Gray Pill Pod. Go over to Patreon, support the show. Tomorrow morning, we're doing Gods of the Morning Wood Part 2. We spun the wheel and landed on the same books we did last week. Uncanny.
Yo, you got to play Lotto on that shit.
Yeah. Aquarian Gospel Part 2 and Mysteries of the Druids Part 4.
I'll be there tomorrow too for that.
Sure. Yeah, I'll definitely send you guys a link. Tomorrow night, I'll be on No Way Jose with Jose Galison live show. Yeah. He asked me to come on Wednesday. My wife went to. What's up, buddy? You good? Okay, kids. my wife went to Virginia for her sister's bachelorette party, and so yeah, I had to play dad for most of the week. But yeah, going on tomorrow night, we got to schedule it then, and then a couple shows tomorrow, I believe. Rise to Liberty is coming on at noon, and then around 6, we're going on Divulgence.
Yes, yeah, that's Sunday.
Yeah,
Yep,
man.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Divulgence.
The Rejects will be on back on Divulgence with Jordan. So lots of shows this weekend, guys. Y'all be sure to tune in and go follow Web of Mysteries wherever you can find them as well. So glad to be here tonight, guys. What's up? Oh.
You there, Sam? We lose you again? Oh, you're breaking up, bud.
What you at?
Say that again, sir. Oh, now we don't hear you at all, man.
No.
Yeah, you should have turned the TV on.
Yeah, the same thing that happened earlier is happening. We had
Yeah.
a little bit of technical.
Ethan.
They were waiting on me to get off. Yeah, Ethan, sorry.
Yeah, Ethan, introduce yourself for now. What you doing?
I'll bleed on about myself. I'm a wandering Taoist, and I enjoy looking into all sorts of philosophy and writer of articles and books, and always honored to be here with the crew. And hopefully Sam is back here real quick. So I appreciate you having us, Sam.
All right. Well, I think Sam might be fixing his audio. Let's see what he's saying in the chat. And then we can't hear you say it.
That intro was pretty crazy, man. I felt like I was in the Black Lodge for a minute.
Oh, yo, that's one of my more tamer ones, actually. Believe it or
Yeah,
not.
I know.
I think a lot of people don't realize how dark it is to be incarnated into form from formlessness. You know?
No, Headless, it's supposed to be perfect, utopia,
Well,
man.
Does that
Think
mean
about
out
it,
of
you're going
then? Because it's dark out there.
right. Well, think about it. You've got guts now, so you can't be disemboweled if you're in a formless state in the spirit. But now you've got guts, so that's kind of dark.
Yeah, I'd say anyone would say that was dark.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
was
kids when they're really young like that, when they're first embodied, their face kind of depicts what is going on in their guts, right? They really have they're so guttural, right? That like you can tell like they're gonna burp or fart. It's all like that's like really
Right
what they're
there.
Flabbiness and yeah.
Yeah. Philology, or not philology. Why would I
Physiognomy.
mistake that. Physiognomy, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
It's all right there in the face.
Yes, physiognomy is very important, a lot more important than people would like to think.
Well, now they're getting
And
AI.
recognizing who you're interacting with and how you should act, and what'd you say, Headless, about AI?
They're using AI to tell people's health just by looking at their faces. You know?
Then I would actually wonder if it's really going into your eyes. Because there's certain things you can't, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be diagnosed that way for everything.
Right.
You know, when people drown, they check their eyes because that actually tells them certain things about that.
Pupil, what is it called? Where you're dilating your pupils and stuff. Yeah, it's a very important part of, because that's your brain tissue, right? I'll never forget that. You've got two pieces of exposed brain tissue hanging out of your face. They're called your eyes. You know, they really are the windows to the soul.
Yeah, they're all actually part of the brain. It's all the same thing.
Right.
Who said that the eyes are the window to the soul?
Yeah, who came up with that?
Yeah, I was wondering that the other day. I was trying to quote it, and I was like, well, I don't know. Yeah.
That's ancient. It's like timeless wisdom. You know, it's funny. The most important sayings that you'll ever hear in your life are unattributable.
It might be a modern author or modern in the last, several hundred years anyway, but surely it's like ancient Egypt and type of, rooted in really ancient understandings.
Yeah.
Mm.
What happened to Sam?
Yeah, right.
Is there a form of divination that looks at the different shapes around your iris and pupil?
You know, there's Chinese face reading, which is really one of the oldest kind of traditional Chinese medicine understandings anyway. And they will diagnose kind of more psyche related problems through facial, where your wrinkles are, how you're holding your face. So there might be something to it. And
Mianyang is a 3,000-year-old traditional practice that interprets facial features, shapes, and markings to analyze personality, health, and life destiny. It bridges traditional medicine, spotting organ health issues, and fortune telling, which maps life events to specific facial areas, often connecting strong, balanced features with good fortune. Yeah, handsome Hierophant over here.
You can supposedly a really profound, practitioner of this can literally tell you something about your, they'll see, certain places where you're holding tension, and they can say, what happened to you with your mother when you were young, and it's okay to let that go. And people's facial posture can change in like one session.
Well, dude, I'm pretty sure the longer you spend living with somebody, like your wife maybe, or your mom or your parents, you end up looking more like them. It seems like with a lot of older couples, they seem to kind of look like each other. I don't know, man. And I don't know if it's just in the South, but a lot of people end up having like this, like these names that like go off of each other. They start with the same letter. I don't know if people notice it like I do, maybe because of my job or, but it's very, very strange. Gives that kind of thought, like, I don't know, is it like, this whole simulated thing, which I've never really bought into, but some kind of code or programming behind each and everything, everyone, every thing that we experience. Oh, he's back.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually might be the best we've heard you.
Names have power. Yes, Howard. My name is Julian. Oh, sorry, Sam. I was yapping.
Wait, Julian?
Yeah. My name is Jules, but real name is Julian, and that means youthful. So I saw some friends, unfortunately, at a buddy's funeral about a year or so ago, and they were like, Jules, why do we all look, 12, 13 years older, but you still look the same that you did back in high school? I was like, I don't know.
Must be drinking adrenochrome.
Oh yeah, dude. Definitely.
Gotta be that.
I told them that. I'm pretty sure. I was just like trolling them. I was like, well, actually a vampire. So
that's funny.
I think I said it more like, well, I'm a vampire.
So what's up, Sam?
Said, we were talking about earlier before I had technical difficulties about Godzilla and his potential inspiration. Well, everyone knows that Godzilla is an allegory. It's an allegory to unchecked nuclear power, because in the first movie, what really woke him up was the nukes going off. But funny enough, the American Godzilla movie from like the early 2000s depicted him as being a mutated lizard from the nuclear testing from the Manhattan Project. Funny enough, Mr. Nick, if you can pull this up, look up. I'm not even going to be able to pronounce it, so I'll just spell it out for you.
All right, hold on.
Let me know.
We're good to go. What's up?
HON EGIO.
Onigo? Ongio?
Hungio, I guess it would be pronounced like. I don't know. I have Japanese ancestry. I do not speak a lick of the language.
Again,
You probably speak a lot more Japanese than you know.
I mean, I do watch a lot of anime, so.
Dude, speaking of anime, I don't know if you guys have seen on Netflix that one show, Vinland Saga.
I've watched season 1. I binged watched it. I have not seen
season 1
2
is
yet.
fucking great. Season 2 kind of gets a little weird, but dude, it's a great show and great characters in it as well. It's basically about a guy from Iceland whose dad was this jarl, or I don't know if he was a jarl, but he was he was known as Thor's his name was Thor's, but he was known as the troll of something. I forgot. I've been watching it this past week. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm not an anime fan, so it's kind of a movie later. Yeah.
Like, if you want a really good anime that is an allegorical to real life events, I highly recommend Full Metal Alchemist, preferably Brotherhood. That one, in personal opinion, is the better of the two. That's the 2009 anime adaptation. But I was Nick, if you can pull up that picture, please.
Oh, I couldn't even find this thing. When I put that in, nothing came up for it.
It's HONEGYO.
Oh, Wyo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Why
sir.
we just figured it out. Sorry, I thought he said I. Jesus Christ, I couldn't fix that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Headless. You should check it out, man. It's pretty good. Basically, the kid has to get revenge for his father, and I don't really know how to explain it as well as the show could. He's basically going on these Viking excursions with the guy who killed his dad, and every chance he can get, he challenges him to a duel and ends up losing. And and he there's these other. It's them invading Francia. So
yeah. So this thing is called it's the yokai. So there's in Japanese mythology, there's Oni, which everyone knows that as one of the demons. Well, a yokai is another form of a demon, and these are typically like nature based. Like the kitsune, which got really popularized by the show Naruto, which in of itself took inspiration from the folklore of the legend of Jiraiya the Valiant, where he's at in that mythology. He has a connection to giant toads and everything, and he's actually married to and actually Orochimaru in that is a trickster. So he literally got the three great ninjas of Naruto. Literally took them from, and each of them, because Tsunade is the slug queen or whatever, the equivalent of that in the actual mythology. But this guy is the Hanyo. It's literally a little transliteration of fruitful yearfish. It is a legendary Japanese water-dwelling yokai, an omen of prosperity, typically appearing in rivers. It is described as a large, it's less than 2 meter long amphibious beast with dark scales, turtle-like legs, and mirror-like eyes. It's often associated with bountiful fishing seasons. And the last reported sighting of this, it was the most famous report was occurring in the Yodo River in 1866. The first Godzilla movie came out in 1954. So almost years later, but it got really big. Can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
I hear you. Well, I think it's important that people know the different classes of spirits within Shintoism. So yokai would be like the nature spirits and also like ghosts and stuff like that. And then you've got the oni, which are like purely malevolent entities. And then there's the gods, which are... I forgot the
funny
name
enough about the gods, two of the most well-known Japanese gods is Fusion and Raijin, which everybody would modernly know them as Fujin and Raiden, because that's where the Mortal Kombat characters gathered their inspiration from. The Thunder Gods. They were brothers, and
Right, the kami.
which
Kami are
is
the
also
Shinto
referenced.
gods.
Yes, which is where they get the suicide pilots from World War II. They got the name Kamikaze, which they also thought the Kame saved them from a Mongol invasion. I want to say in 1544.
So weird how you had the Nazi, Nazi, Ashkenazi. A lot of fucking weird like Z's Z sounds here.
Or no, I was gonna say, what's that thing on Dragon Ball Z? The Kamehameha or something.
Kamehameha. Yeah, that would be like the God beam.
Yeah. Again, another anime reference, guys. This is the first show ever I probably mentioned anime. I just butchered trying to describe Vinland Saga. It's about a young kid named Thorfinn who is out and seeking adventure with his Viking comrades and trying to get revenge and trying to get back to his family at the same time. That's better. There we go.
But yeah,
Sorry.
I saw that the Godzilla yokai thing. When I saw that, it was like, it also made me think about the fact that all over the world they have sea-dwelling monsters. And have y'all ever heard of Mokle Mimbe from the Congo?
Spell it for me.
Let me try.
I got you. Hold on.
I think it's MOKO.
Okay.
Then it's MBE.
Moko. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Mokele Mbembe.
Yes.
In several Bantu mythologies, Mokele Mbembe, also written as Mokele, I don't know. I'm not going to butcher that.
Can you Can you pull up a picture of it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it kind of looks like a dinosaur. Hold on. Let me.
Dude, here's the thing. When you look at this, because there's even talks about it still, like sightings today. When you look at this, and then you look over in the most famous one, Nessie, they look a lot alike. Because one is a plesiosaur. Obviously, looks like a plesiosaur. The other one looks like a brontosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
I shit you not. Like, what's his name? He was a DJ like when hi-fi was really big. And everything. He's an artist. He was on JLE. This is the actual dinosaur he went into the Congo looking for.
Okay, I remember that.
See that first picture, that first drawing, not picture, but the drawing, the very first one right there. That is the most famous like depiction of it. But what makes me like giddy, because it is the fact that everyone knows about Loch Ness. Most people have never heard of Mokele Mimbe, but have y'all ever heard of Champ from Lake Champlain here in America?
I have.
Yes.
I have heard of that, yeah.
Yes.
There's also I can't remember what its name is, but it's like it is described down in the Amazon. I want to say it's the Amazon because there's one that's in the Congo, which is this one. But
this is what you're talking about in the lake.
Yes, sir. They all look roughly. They all have a long tail, a long neck, small head. It is not. It is fair to say, while the likelihood of these things still living today is astronomical, but yet we look at alligators and snakes. They're literally dinosaurs. They are the perfect killing machine.
I will say this. Have you seen that picture? I think it's a video maybe of that woman and she's filming the water and there's this like, I swear it's a fucking dragon, man. It's like looking at her and it's not AI. It's fascinating. Is this it? Oh, is that just that's a bird.
But funny enough, the fact that there's a lot of people, it could be folklore and just like a hearsay and everything. Well, I think that the fact that they're also depicted on cave art and everything, a lot like mermaids are depicted on cave art all over the world, and there's pyramids all over the world. I think there's a lot of interconnections because in the Greek mythology you have the harpies, which is they're the ones that are half bird, half like they have the voice of women. Originally, the sirens in the Odyssey that lower men from the ship into drowning them, just they originally looked like that. Later on, did they start to look more like the naiads? And even then, the pretty mermaids that's depicted in like what we think of now, what was more of the Caribbean style. But over in funny enough, the most famous
Well, point of
mermaid.
fact, actually, the sirens actually come from the harpies, right? So
Yes.
the harpies were the original motif, and then they transformed into these sort of water dwelling nymphs. And it's a
The naiad.
strange transition, but it kind of makes sense.
Because and when you also look at the fact that the legends of how they would mate, they at first, which they referenced it in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But those depictions of mermaids are actually based off of the modern, not the modern, but the later adaptation when the sirens took on more of the nymph and naiad, which is just a water spirit, water nymph. It took on that persona. That's when they became more beautiful and everything, which would because they were supposed to entice the sailors. And but how they would breed is they would take the men down, they would drown them, and then they would extract their essence, their seed, and everything. Then not only that, but they would feast on the men. This is accounted in multiple folklores and legends. But I find it amazing that everyone knows like all the white girls' favorite drink, Starbucks, right? You know that chick with the chick that's holding the tails. Yeah, that's based off of the African mermaid goddess. I can't think of her name right now, which is eluding me.
Time out.
Yeah, that iconography is based on her, and she is a mermaid with two tails. And also, Israel actually has $1 million bounty out on if anyone can prove the existence of mermaids. But there's been, like I said, there's mermaids talked about all over the world culturally from every different culture. Sorry.
Well, do you know about the cosmological controversy between Zeus and his wife, Hera?
I mean, they are brother and sister. But
Right,
funny
well-
enough, she's supposed to be the goddess of family and everything, but she threw her son for being ugly off of Mount Olympus, which is Hephaestus.
Right. Well, she was raised by Oceanus, right? The god of the waters of the world. And so she is convinced that the original god and goddess of the world is not Gaia and Uranus. It's actually Tethys and Oceanus. So she believes that the entire world originated from the waters as opposed to the earth and the sky.
But that goes against the entire like creation myth of Greek mythology, because they believe that what happened is Kronos, like in the beginning, that like before the Titans there was the giants, but that was the offspring between literally the sky and the earth. Oceanus was the titan of the ocean, but this is Kronos was
right.
the
You got to think about it from the biblical perspective. They talk about how the Spirit of God went over the face of the deep. So there is this controversy even in the Bible where you've got this watery chaos being the originator for life versus the earth coming together with the sky and creating all life. So there's a sort of like a profound difference between the two, whether they came from the watery chaos of the depths or it came from earth and sky. So it's really kind of interesting, all the implications of that.
Yeah. I find it interesting and everything. Also talking about Zeus, there's one thought process like reason it's a myth. It explains why everybody's looking for a significant other. Originally, humanity it was a male and a woman fused. It was the completion of the soul. It explains
I have
why-
that pulled up.
Pull that
Have
up.
you ever seen the movie Headless and the Angry Inch?
No.
Are you in it?
Oh, dude. Okay, so this is a movie from back in the late 90s about a dude who escaped from Russia by having his junk cut off because he was marrying a US Army member.
So he really was headless.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
this is
Oh.
this is headway.
That kind of head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a movie that was
Wait, was it
musical
called
on
Angry
Broadway.
Itch or Angry Inch? What was it called?
Angry Inch.
I thought you said the Angry Imp.
Right. As they were
Typo Negative had a song called Angry Itch, and it was about him getting his dick cut off.
Dude, I'm gonna write a song
that's
called
what it's
The Angry
about.
Imp.
So this guy was supposed to become a woman, but it didn't take, and so the doctor that did it was kind of a nut job because it's a Soviet sex change surgery, but they include the Platonic idea of the origin of love in there as a song, and I'm like, this song is so strange. But here, I'm sharing the screen if you want to bring that up. It's so strange that they actually depict this mythology here.
The earth was still flat, and clouds made of fire, and mountains.
Wait, did that in the background? Did it just show a dude blowing another guy?
No, not yet. It doesn't actually show that in the movie, but it's a PG-13 movie. Listen to this part.
Sets of arms they had,
Whoa.
2 sets of legs they had.
This is
2 faces peering out of one giant head, so they
Yeah, that's like some Lemuria shit, dude.
Yup.
Alchemy.
Body alchemy.
And it's actually a good song too, which is strange because
Do you consider
bunch of
chaos
freaks.
good? Not necessarily good, but I mean,
Regardless what changed, you're gonna need it.
I think it's natural. I think it's happened since the beginning of time, and I think it'll continue to happen. And if you try to just continually stop chaos, I mean, there's people obviously invoking more and more chaos. You can try and stop that. Good luck to you. But
pause that.
But in chaos, I mean, and that's like the order out of chaos, right? Like the only way to get order is chaos, and that's just like that one kind of theory, right? It's not what I believe. I'm just
No,
so that part
telling you
that
there's a
part
couple
was
ways to
interesting.
look at it, but
what they were doing is sort of in a
Well,
way kind of trying to platonically justify queerness by using sun, earth, and moon, right? So the children of the earth were 2 women glued up back to back, and then the children of the sun were 2 men glued up back to back, and the children of the moon, which is interesting because in Greek cosmology, the moon is both masculine and feminine. Those were the women and the men glued up back to back. So what they're trying to do is show that Platonic idea of the origin of love in this thing. And they're using it from the Russian perspective because Russia preserved that myth because Russia's Cyrillic continued the Greek tradition of lettering. So all of this stuff goes back to this origin of love that came through the Baltic into Russia and then had all of that origin right there. So there's a lot of anthropology that you miss out on.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that it showed them created that way because in the myth I was talking about, it's Zeus feared them because they would be that he considered them too powerful with the 2 heads, 2 faces, 2 hearts, 4 lungs, and the 4 legs, 4 arms. So what he did is he cleaved them in 2 and put their faces on the inside of the cleavature, so as a mocking ray. And
if we watch the rest of it, that's what happens. That's what happens in the story. He cuts them all up into pieces, and so this is why we fall in love with each other, is trying to mend the wound. And they say that it comes from the hole in your belly button. That's actually where the scar is that separates you from the loved one, which is weird.
Which is literally your mother feeding you while you're forming and everything. So there's that connection. But I find it amazing. I find it into the intricacies of it, because when you look at that, how that myth is essentially a rebus. Because in alchemy, you have 2 Magnus Opus, the Philosopher's Stone, and then the rebus. You can't complete the rebus without first completing the Philosopher's Stone. what the rebus is essentially you're taking equal parts male and equal parts female, stitching them together, then imbuing the souls of a male and female into it to complete the defined hermaphrodite, which, funny enough, in medieval iconography later became Baphomet.
Well, again, I mean, I even showed, I think, a pretty good older version of that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Right. I do think Heinrich Kumar had a version of Baphomet before that. It shows the rebus and everything. I think I showed you that actually, Sam.
There was a Russian cult that. Sorry. No, please go ahead.
I was gonna pick back up with Nick. I was gonna say I'm not exactly sure if you showed it to me, but I know for a while that there's a picture of it, the male and the female, two heads, one body holding. The male is holding, I want to say, the moon, and the female's holding the sun, and it's on flip flops. Not exactly this picture. I've never seen this one. This is fucking dope.
This is Heinrich Kuhnrath. Nick, when I first met Nick, he showed this. Him and Headless showed this to me, and
even
the second episode we did when I came on with Ethan and Headless. As someone commented on that episode on the Spotify, I was like, "Oh, this guy reads one book and knows about this. Come on!" I'm like, "Fuck off." Anyway, but that was a great episode. It was good times, guys. That was over a year ago now, I think. So I've been in Occult Reject for over a year.
Holy shit! Yeah, well, Brandon is the new guy. Him and his girl. Yeah,
it's just wild, man. I've seen a lot of people come and go, dude, and I'm standing.
You're still there,
and strong. I'm loyal, Nick. I have friends, and as long as they're loyal to me, I'm loyal to them. So,
hell yeah.
Well, that's the thing that I find interesting about all of this stuff is because as an intellectual pursuit, it's completely different from identity, because you're not identifying as this stuff. What you're trying to do is you're trying to piece together the mysteries of nature, and it gets turned into identity from people who are using it in a purely non-intellectual way.
Energy is form, or do you use energy to create form?
There is a Russian
both. I mean, I could say both. Sorry, Ethan.
There's a Russian cult that I think was likely very influenced by this Headless, called the Skopsky, or the Skoptsy, and they were all about removal of appendages and including their genitals, and they were likely very much influenced by that. I was going to say
early Jesuits, dude. They were chopping off their penises too, but they
were trying to show how some of them would take off their arms and so forth to show their.
Whoa, no.
Yeah.
That's taking something that's like completely esoteric and turning it literal.
Right. They literally are perverting what could be valuable metaphors into.
I think people do that sometimes, and it may be
all the time.
Though.
Well,
think about this though.
In regards to
as far as certain doctrines and dogmas, right? Because you know what I mean. Like it really depends on like the ideology that it comes from. I think looking at it objectively, people suck my dick if you don't agree. I don't care.
Have you guys ever heard of phantom limb?
You guys.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of phantom limb syndrome, where people who have had removed parts of their body still feel those parts of their body? And it's not until they incorporate mirrors and false substitutes for those parts of the body that people can actually scratch the itch in the removed limb.
Had a long day.
There was a case of a guy, he lost his arm and everything, and he said for like 5 years, it felt like his hand was as hard as it could, and it was driving him insane. They finally used a mirror and like had him looking at it and had him open his other hand, and it tricked his brain into actually easing up, and it kind of the pain went away. The shit's wild what the human mind can do. The human mind is a computer. You can hack that shit.
Oh yeah,
that's
totally. That's why I think a lot of
stuff is happening.
Sometimes I forget people are having conversations in the chat, and I think they're speaking to us.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't even pay attention.
Not right now, but just like I was about to say something to somebody in the chat to respond, but I think they were talking to Howard, so I'm like, okay, so there are conversations happening.
Oh no, there is though for sure.
Okay, I forget sometimes, dude.
Yeah, I fucked up. I've actually started saying stuff in there that made no sense because yeah, it's okay.
I think even chaos can be kind of perverted and misunderstood in a sense.
Big time.
Is it bad? Well, I
I
mean,
wanted to answer that too.
right? Like Set as one of the original symbological, gods of chaos. His hieroglyphic is a plow, which is an example of a very chaotic tool for the ground. Right, but it is something that is creating order out of chaos. Right, you're literally creating rows of beds for your agricultural use, in effect. So, is chaos bad? Not necessarily, but I mean, it surely is not. We look at it in the way we would use it is not necessarily like the Set example.
Sorry. How I look at, just real quick, I want to throw this in there.
You're good, dude.
I think when it comes to even just the word chaos and magic, that is all that, to me, all that is just creating a change. I even think that my total opinion, chaos magic is redundant. You're saying the same thing. I think magic is chaos. Maybe it's just you're trying to use that to explain something else, which I get, but it's kind of just repeating the same word over, I think, just for me. But I would say chaos could even be the fact of me switching from Newports to Marlboro. Me deciding to do one thing and not. If you really, really want to think about chaos being just change, the fact that my heart decides to pump and push is now chaos. The fact that my lungs decide to fill up and then blow out is chaos. So if there wasn't chaos, I'd probably be fucking screwed if I wanted to live. So
yeah. There's definitely times when chaos has actually probably influenced me in my life to do better. Right. And so there is there is that aspect to it where it does come in handy of someone.
If you look at our body, I think it actually exists in a total state of chaos if you really pay attention to how it works.
If you think about this, the liminal state, the state between states, is that chaotic energy, right? Because it's the process of changing from one to the other. So sunrise, sunset, introduce the most amount of chaos into the system because it's changing from one thing into another, right? So this is why I keep coming back to sunrise and sunset as being the best time for magic, is because what you're doing is you're using the chaos of that liminal state to then change the outcome of the future, because you're inserting yourself into the most volatile points of the day and night.
I would even say one other way to explain chaos: options. There you go. As long as you have an option. So,
in essence, we're always living in a liminal state because we always have the option to change.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you think it is nature over nurture or nurture over nature when dealing with
definitely nature over nurture, dude.
See, I think there is such a thing as the balance between the two.
But nature can be nurture, can it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
the balance between the two is upset by chaos. And this is why chaos is always seen as sort of like a bad thing in major political events, whereas these are opportunities for the people who are aware of them. And if you don't know your opportunity, how can you be aware of the way that you can affect that chaos to your benefit?
You're right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
What's up, Sam?
I honestly, my mind has just been blown. So at this
that's
point,
from the shotguns.
What
before.
do you think, Webb? What do you think? Nature over nurture or nurture over nature?
Oof.
me,
Yeah.
I think it could probably play it with both. So I do think with an innate like psychopath, I think that they could, with nurture, they could probably be quote unquote like tamed where they could work in society. But a sociopath, not so much.
Right.
I think you could.
Yeah.
I think you
I
could give
agree.
them an angel, and they would drive the angel to drink.
Well, then it's our job to take that sociopath out, is it not?
Angel.
As
Angel
men
is
of
the
honor.
key. Well, I think angel is the key when it comes to sociopathy because
To speak like a community, right? If you had
Right.
a child predator or someone who like to at least monitor them, and if they get out of hand, you gotta. That's nature. That nature takes over.
Right. Well, who has the more control over their own decisions, the sociopath or the psychopath?
The psychopath.
For me,
the psychopath.
yeah, the psychopath does, right?
Yeah, they can actually
absolutely.
the sociopath. He's like, oh, you know what? You pissed me off. Fuck you, die. So because they drive straight on instinct.
Dude.
They don't really think of the next 5 seconds. They think right then and there.
Right. Very good point. And so that angel aspect, I view the angel aspect of the divine when it comes over us as sort of the muses, and the muses of inspiration is like that guardian angel that's giving you a tool or a means of changing your situation. And if you're a sociopath, you're completely closed off from that. I think psychopaths have access to those angels and they can make those changes because they're so completely disconnected from reality that they can kind of just do whatever the fuck they want to.
So the example that popped in my mind is Son of Sam, the Satanist serial killer who claimed, oh, my dog was possessed by the devil and told me to do this.
Next door neighbor's dog, yeah.
Yeah, like dude even carved an inverted pentagram on his hand. I don't know if he carved it or he drew it in like sharp, but there's actually evidence and everything and speculation that he was actually MK Ultra.
Who? Yeah, no, dude. Every serial killer was definitely programmed, in my opinion, or influenced, by someone pushing them to do that.
The internet collectively calls the dude Uncle Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Yep.
He was actually in like the first year or two of his life, he was actually in a MK Ultra operation, where he was not allowed to have any contact with his mother, and it completely fucked him up.
Now, what did they influence him to do? They changed his gender in the MK Ultra program.
No, so Ted Kaczynski was always a guy. What they did was cut off his. The first few years of his life, he had no human contact. He did not feel the touch of.
They had to make those alters. Yeah, they have to do it when they're young. Yeah.
And the fucked up thing, the dude was highly intelligent, to the point that reason why he was bombing them is because he said that technology was going to take over, that eventually that humanity will be obsolete, and that the technology itself is the cause of it. The technological industrialization of humanity. The fucked up thing about it, he actually sent in a thing in the mail and actually answered solved one of the hardest equations and everything. And they actually said answered by Ted Kaczynski. Then underneath his name, they put a footnote that says known for other works. Meaning he's famous for doing the blowing up, but the professor that he sent the bomb through the mail and everything and blew up the guy who survived, his name was found in the Epstein files. So maybe Uncle Ted wasn't exactly wrong. I mean, we do have AI and clankers cut now. So, dun 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 dun.
Filthy tin skins.
I saw something in regards to that. I believe the files were kind of alluding to Epstein pursuing the torture of young people, and I believe that they theorized that this suffering, like exemplified with Ted Kaczynski's childhood, led to increased consciousness and intelligence.
Oh, you're talking about the fucking Unabomber, dude. I thought you were talking about David Berkowitz.
That's where I thought
we started on David.
That's what I thought, dude.
David.
Okay, so speaking of Jose, whose show I'm going on tomorrow night, Jose. The first time he came on my show, he brought up, the Oklahoma bombing, and I thought, I thought the same thing. I thought that Ted Kaczynski was fucking, whatever his name was. My audio is coming through on someone else's audio.
Sam,
I don't know if y'all can hear that. Sam, if you have a speaker, maybe. I'm sorry, guys. That's why I held up Program to Kill, because I was like, yo, yeah, all the serial killers. But yeah, no, Ted Kaczynski was right about a lot of things, I think. Sure. But definitely a programmed. I mean, it's all. It's all.
Who else programmed and actually had a handler and everything, because he kept getting let out the same day as being booked in for various crimes across the country.
Yeah.
Who?
Charles Manson.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
His backstory. Wow.
He actually, if I'm not mistaken, he did not actually do any of the actual killing. He just orchestrated.
Yeah.
But the things that, if you listen to some of the ramblings that he did, you actually listen to it. Some of them, scary enough, kind of make sense. Wait a minute.
No. If we listen to him now, some of the crazy shit doesn't sound crazy. You're like, I heard somebody else say that on YouTube in a different way.
The last name, Kaczynski, Berkowitz. I don't know.
It really should bring up the nature of prophets in general. Prophets in general seem like crazy people for the time period that they're in. But then later on, people look back and go, whoa, wait a second. This guy was onto something.
I mean,
you go, police used to watch over the people. Now they're watching the people. Remember, that's one of his lines. Motherfucker hit him.
People call him Uncle Ted, dude. What are we talking? Uncle, what did they say? Uncle Ted was right or whatever.
I mean,
fuck. He has his own fan club. Ted Turner.
Hell, there's people that make memes of Killdozer. Talk about the 440K with the techno clip saying, with one of the space marines said, "What is this?" And it says, "A relic of the past." What does it say? It screams it for rage, and it just shows the Killdozer. And I'm like, I
love Warhammer memes. They're so on point.
Blood for the blood god.
I'm telling
you. One of the sentences in the Ted Kaczynski presentation, whatever it's called, that he mailed out. It's amazing. This was in the late 80s. Imagine a society that subjects people to conditions that make them terribly unhappy, then gives them the drugs to take away their unhappiness. I mean, that's like social media.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All of the internet.
In 2000s.
Have you guys ever looked into the Macy conferences of the 1940s?
Is this the same Macy family where the in honor of the Macy's Day Parade, the husband and wife, they went down on the Titanic, and that's why they have the plaque and everything for the Macy's Day Parade?
No, this is a different Macy's conference. The Macy's conference of the 1940s was talking about cybernetics and how there's a feedback loop between the machine and the human. And so they wanted to take cybernetics and change that into basically a Skinner box. And if you know about a Skinner box, it's basically where you've isolated a human inside of a very controlled environment where all inputs can be firmly, put in place and controlled. And so Skinner, he put his own children into the Skinner box to study them based upon the inputs that he was putting in there. So usually they use like pigeons or rats inside of a Skinner box. But what they said is you can get the same kind of effect of a Skinner box if all people have to interact with is the computer. Right? This would be the cybernetics conferences of the Macy conference in 1940s. So what they're trying to do is show that you could actually create this false reality where the feedback loop is between you and the machine ends up dictating your reality. I think that's where we're at. I mean, algorithms are a black box. We're kind of on the other side of a black box where we don't know who's programming our algorithms. We don't know what they want to show us, but all thoughts predicate action. So what they're showing us produces certain thoughts, whether reactivity, passivity, all of these different reactions based upon what we're seeing. So we become sort of stuck in that feedback loop with these machines. And that, social media is the perfect way to experience that, because now you don't know who's programming Facebook. You don't know who's programming Twitter. You don't know why you're seeing the things that you're seeing. And are you really programming yourself, or is somebody else programming you?
I have another Ted Kaczynski quote in regard to that. And I wonder too, why schools always teach that it's a problem if both parties who fight. It's like, isn't it the aggressor that it's probably that is the problem? Let's see. Power depends ultimately on physical force. By teaching people that violence is wrong, except of course when the system itself uses violence via the police or the military, the system maintains its monopoly on physical force and thus keeps all power in its own hands. And so why do they teach children that it's wrong to fight no matter what side you're on? It's always right to defend someone, even if you have to fight, right? I mean, that is what people should be taught, I would think.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I was taught talk shit, get hit. So
zero tolerance policies.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about, dude. Yeah, talk shit, get hit. Sorry, Headless.
Zero
Nick, I turned your
tolerance
show
policies.
into a gray pill Friday night live stream from like a year ago. Well, not the same rhetoric as a year ago, but same attitude. So
zero tolerance policies protect the aggressor and punish the victim, because what you're doing is you're punishing both the victim and the aggressor equally.
And what kind of nurture is that? Talk about passivity, right? This is nurturing the most passive and even apathetic behavior. Sorry to cut you off on this.
No, I mean, it's a really good point, because the first time zero tolerance policy was ever implemented as a system in the U.S. was in the U.S. Postal Service back in the early 1980s. So you had bullies within the U.S. Postal Service who would come around and pick on other employees, and those other employees would be the first to, be like, you can't do this to me. You're fucking terrible. This is where we get the term postal from. Those victims would be punished, and then they would come back and take out everybody in the Postal Service. You know where the second place they implemented zero tolerance policies? The U.S. high school system. And this is why we have things like 1999 with those school shooters. So what are we doing when we go against nature and we understand, hey, victims fight back too? You have to actually look at evidence. That's no longer part of the equation. Now it's total passivity in the way that we sort of psychologize people.
Yeah, dude. Well put, Headless. So, what's up, guys?
I'm on.
To turn the conversation, what the fuck do y'all think is up with all this shit going on right now? Webb or Sam, you got someone else there with you. I don't know him, but I saw him. So, you know, that's why I called you Webb, because it was like a plural form. But, you know, we got a bunch of shit going on right now. You got the alien psyop happening. We got the Epstein leak. I mean, dude, it took them months, half a year to put out the Epstein files after originally releasing them. You really think they're giving us come the fuck on, guys? No. And then we have the war in Iran, right? And then this is all happening kind of at the same time. Do y'all think this is natural, or what do you think this is? Are you thinking like me? I mean,
Iran has called this the Epstein War, so they are.
Well, there you go. There's one way to tie that in there, and then you have, you know, the Israeli intelligence tying, you know, the UFOs to our, you know, to our secret space programs, or all that shit, and yeah, man, it's kind of crazy right now, to be honest with you, but there's a lot of different narratives.
It makes me wonder how much of history has been some dastardly deed to cover up other dastardly deeds, because it seems like that's a large part of what's going on, although there's other influences.
Not only history, Ethan, but conspiracies as well. I've had to do a lot of like thinking lately about, and me and Nick talked about this, and you know, are conspiracies, you know, mostly bullshit, right? Is it just a distraction from a lot of the real things that are happening? Because a lot of them are based off one another. Right?
Apparently,
a lot of things in the Epstein files, you see that it's like they took 6 months to go into these different rabbit holes and grab these things here and there and kind of combine them into this dossier, right? And then release it. I don't know. I mean,
it's a great question, and it's a really interesting.
No one else is asking the fucking question, man. So hey, we're rejects.
Consider this: that 4chan is from where the Q messaging originated. Epstein was tight with the guy who ran 4chan. It's speculated that he was involved in putting out these kind of similar things, but different people involved. There's also another specific one, how there was a post on 4chan like 30 minutes before anyone else knew that Epstein was dead, that he was dead. So there's a lot of
they know who the guard is that posted that thing on 4chan. They know his name, they know his identity now. So there was a guard at the facility this guy was being held at who posted it 30 minutes before. So that's I mean, what are we talking about here? You know, I wanted to bring up something
double agent, triple agent, black ops.
Right. I wanted to bring up something kind of tangentially relevant. Artificial intelligence brings a fly to life. Have you guys heard about this story?
Yeah, that's pretty freaky, dude. It took like its intelligence, right?
What it did is it mapped out every single nerve ending and every single neural network within the fly, used AI to put it into a simulation. And then they found that based upon the neural networking of this fly, they could make a perfect simulation of a fly with the same behaviors and activities of that fly. This kind of brings me back to that computer vision episode that we did, where all they're doing now is just using the neural network map and then plugging it into a simulation and getting the same behaviors and responses as a real living fly. What does that say about us?
Some weird shit. I saw that stuff. It was like one of the articles I actually read, like a news article. I was like, oh, wait, let me actually read this.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty I mean, again, they said, like, I think it's something that's like very basic compared to humans, but they're saying that it was able to do this, it should be able to take off like ridiculously now. It's only a matter of time.
Right? If it has all of the same motivations and the same behaviors and the same bodily makeup as a fly, and what if they can just input all of the neural networks that are in our brain into these computers? Is it a person living in a virtual environment? Are we living in a virtual environment and we just don't know it? What's the difference? That's the real question, I think. Because when we were talking to Ashish, he was saying, you are nothing but your neural patterns. You are nothing but your nerves as they go through your body. Everything you say, everything you do is just a result of that. I didn't want to believe it.
Shit.
Yeah, Ashish
is... And he's real big into the eyeballs, too. I was totally surprised.
Computer vision. Computer vision. What do you guys think? Are we just the result of the neural patterns that have been input into us, or is there something more? Is there a soul? Is it outside of the body? Is there something else? Oh, I guess he dropped out.
Yeah, I think he said that his mic was.
I do sometimes, like, even like him talking about like the whole nervous system. I do think that is like a big, huge thing that is like used to tap into creating feelings within ourselves. You know, like it could even be like weaponized against us. You know, between the nervous system, and then if you even start looking at like, it's such a weird, like if you really think about like your body and how you're existing and perceiving reality, even like your eyes, like they project out a certain amount of distance, and then it's like almost like 6 feet. And now like they're even starting to say they think that there's somewhat of like basically what's out there is also contributing to what you're also perceiving. It's like a feedback loop. So it's just almost like between that and then your nervous system, just like a fucking bag of reactions. You know,
that's
fucking
one
flush. Fucking your nervous system being fucked with.
That's one way of putting it.
There's this difference with the understanding that we are basically in reaction mode all the time, especially when slightly stressed, say in a martial situation, you're just in reaction mode. If you can try to not react but respond, it's a subtle difference, but it's a mental kind of switch that can be better. It can result in better, more effective action, even in a stressful situation. Not react, but respond. It's like a shift in the nervous system, if you will.
How subtle of a response is necessary to change the course of all of history?
I would say the power of not doing things would be so remarkable, right? So like just that act, the action of inaction, in a sense, would be really profound.
Right. That's part of it. What I would say is that we're sort of coming back to these threads of fate idea, right? So, you know, the ancient times, we have all of these different ideas of the weavers of fate in all of this mythology, where you've got, with the Greeks, they had the 3 women who are the measurers of fate. They are the cutters of fate, and they are the weavers of fate, right? And now we're kind of understanding that maybe all of those threads of fate have something to do with our nervous system, and we're sort of being driven by that. Maybe they were viewing something on a spiritual level that we're just now starting to understand on a mathematical and scientific level. Think of the story of Oedipus Rex, where his father was given an oracle that said that your son is going to overthrow you and take over your kingdom. And so he gets rid of Oedipus, and then Oedipus is raised outside of the environment where he was at, and then he comes back and kills his father, not knowing that it was his father. because the wheel of fate was already in motion.
Give me a little Sam. Sam, you there? We could be. We just don't hear him. What's up, Beans? What's Beans doing?
Beans is always there to help out whenever I need that emotional support for whatever I'm saying. And now he's going to the cabinet.
Yeah.
His favorite place to hang out while I'm podcasting is inside of the cabinet next to the pots and pans.
Yeah, that's what he does when you podcast. That's so funny. That's funny, dude. He has his own position too. Yeah, what do you even like going back to the conspiracies? Like, do you think a lot of that stuff's a lot of bullshit sometimes?
I think that what we do is we catastrophize, right? Especially with the Epstein list. It's like we're catastrophizing them into something more than what they are. What they are is power brokers. That's their main purpose, which means that if we're going to be objective about it, what they're going to do is whatever it takes objectively to get what they want out of the people that are in their downstream network. Right? That's what being a power broker is all about. So whether it's blackmail or, PDF, whatever, they'll do that. But how common is it that they're going to put PDFs in positions of authority? What they're going to do is they're going to be more psychopath about it. Whereas we think of it like a moral question. They think of it as a utilitarian question. And a lot of people miss that because they're thinking about Satan and demons and all this other stuff that you can't actually understand in any way, shape, or form because it's outside of the realm of human conception. And so they're applying that instead of looking at what's right in front of them, which is these people are just psychopaths and they attract other psychopaths and they do whatever is utilitarian.
Sorry, my mic.
I think that's
my mic. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, something happened. I have to get a new cord or something for my audio box.
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad.
Fucking with that. Hold on.
Oh no, you sound fine now.
No, but you're not on. Your audio is not.
It's amazing how kind of standard operation procedure it all seemed to read in the Epstein files, right? It was just like talk about they're just conspiring on mad different stuff, like practical day to day,
right? Because it becomes normal for these people once they've figured out the system that they're operating in. For them, it's just like punching buttons. For us, it's like, are you fucking insane? What are you doing? But, shit floats to the top. So all of these people figured out the systems that they were in and then figured out ways of climbing the ladder in such a way that is the most utilitarian for them. And so we're looking at it from the non-psychopathic perspective, which does not apply to the psychopath. So I think there's tiers of understanding that maybe the more rationally emotional person doesn't really fit into, And we often find that in our own lives. Well, like we come across somebody that we think we can trust, that seems like a genuine person. And then all of a sudden out of the blue, it's like, boom, this person's actually fucking insane. And they're doing whatever they can to make themselves or to fill a hole in themselves and to take whatever they want from you. And it's like, how could a person be like this? And for us, it's like devastating. It shatters our entire world. But for them, it's just a Tuesday, I
agree with that. A lot of sick
I want
people
to
out
write a
there.
book. I want to write a book called Perfidy. Have you ever heard of perfidy?
Yeah, but remind us what it is.
Perfidy is the idea of disloyalty, right? Disloyalty to an extreme. I mean, we've got a Marine on here.
Charged in the military, right?
Well, it is a charge in the military, but it's also, you've got Semper Fidelis, which is the Marine Corps motto. The opposite of fidelis would be perfidy. And we've lost the word perfidy in our regular understanding. But perfidy is just like a concept of disloyalty that people used to, level at each other. And now it's become so foreign to us, we don't even have the word anymore. It's almost completely absent of anything that we conceive of. So it makes the people who are perfidious a lot more common, because the word to describe that type of duplicitous, terrible behavior has evaporated from how we see the world. So perfidy is non-existent and universal at the same time.
I missed most of that, dude. I just fixed that. I didn't know if it was something picking up on my camera. Then I realized it was my headphones. If I jerk back sometimes slightly, I'm scared to even touch anything over here now. Need to get new headphones. Guys, I think I may be at 1,000 on YouTube.
Oh shit.
Now,
now you just
probably,
like
you probably don't have it set up. I think I have it to where you could send super chats in to the Occult Rejects if you have anything that you want us to fucking talk about, or if you just want to support the show. You can also send Rumble rants in.
Yeah,
already know, but don't know what happened to Sam. And
I think we're in Mercury in retrograde right now, right? Seems like we are anyway. It makes me think that's a great idea, topic, Headless, and something I've given a lot of thought to. It's like you almost expect people like you're looking at their honesty,
Headless,
and then honorability is even another level, right? Where it's like they're not. That's hard, even more hard to find.
Right. Well, I view it like this: the fish rots from the head. Right. And so if you don't understand the nature of ubiquitous perfidy, then you can't really call it out. You can't really identify who is untrustworthy in your own life. But ubiquitous perfidy describes the widespread, common, or everywhere present nature of treachery, betrayal, or deceit. It refers to a pervasive atmosphere of untrustworthiness, where betrayals are frequent rather than isolated. The term carries connotations of extreme deceit, often used to describe deep treachery in politics or international affairs or everyday life. And one of the ways we escape ubiquitous perfidy, finally.
It's very loud.
One of the ways we escape ubiquitous perfidy is online, right? Because if there's nothing ventured, there's nothing gained.
Yeah, at least you don't have people backstabbing you if you can keep your anonymity.
First time I've ever heard this word.
Ubiquitous perfect. It's my phrase now. I think I should write a book called Ubiquitous Perfidy and just lay out the case.
Give me a design, we'll make a shirt.
Nobody's ever heard of the term, and it's crazy because it's so fucking prevalent.
So are we coming through the good this time?
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. Sorry, the computer pretty much shared out on us, so now we're on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah, I was responding. So
I want to hear your response. What do you think about ubiquitous perfidy?
I'm not gonna lie, that entire talk y'all were having, I wasn't here for. So all I know is perfidy is lying under oath, right?
That's part of it. Yeah. What's the Marine motto?
Semper Fidelis, always faithful.
Right, and perfidy is the exact opposite of fidelis.
So, a Jody.
You betcha. Do you guys know about Jody?
What do you mean, backdoor Jody, dude?
Backdoor Jody, you got it.
Yeah,
it's the guy
that's
who
how we
sneaks
know.
in
Oh,
there.
rotten crotch.
The back door, dude. Wet, dude. I fucking chopped Jody's head off a long time ago. I fucking blood eagled him in my backyard.
Fuck yeah.
When I was a kid. No, but yeah, he's never existed in my life. Thank God.
Again.
Like I said, when I was a kid, you know, you live and you learn. But Sam's gone again. No, he's not. He just, I guess he's trying to. All right. Sorry.
I think there are things worth more than money right now. And if you don't have the vocabulary to understand and identify it, then you're always just going to be controlled by money. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, we you know, you need money to live in this society, right? Now, not in a more, I guess you could say, organized or, you know, like a township or a village, right? Probably be a little easier. You'd have certain jobs. People would have their roles, and you'd be able to, you know, like contribute to society as needed, and also barter for goods, right? Everyone, like the person who brews the beer, drinks with the whole town. You know what I mean? Like, this is a thing that, you know, goes back to our old tribes and clans living in the forest and in the mountains, you know, not in the desert. Europeans.
Actually, I have a genuine question, which all of my questions tonight have been genuine. But have any of you gentlemen heard of the Kyoto incident?
Kyoto incident? No.
Not Kyoto, but Kyoto. So it's Kyujo.
I don't think so.
So it is a failed coup d'etat of the Emperor of Japan. So this is like the very last few hours of the empire, the imperial Japan. So this is like right at right before the nuking. No, yeah, this is right before the emperor surrenders. And the emperor of Japan, like the bloodline is still the emperor. Like it's still, like his grandson is the emperor today, and they are still viewed as living gods.
Yeah.
It is a failed coup d'etat of the. Actually, the last emperor of China was a child, and if I'm not mistaken, he was exiled, if not killed.
Oh, well, I mean that.
But
I don't know what happened there, but if you go back to like the Han Dynasty, dude, those warriors and kings were viewed as like, you know, this guy sent from the gods or from God, you know, to save them, lead them.
The first emperor of China, like the first emperor of China, the Yellow Emperor was allegedly, like according to legend, he is the direct descendant. His father was a golden dragon, and which I find awesome. The fact that one of the bloodiest wars in Chinese history is because one dude woke up one day and said, "I'm Jesus' long lost brother," and then like half of China went to war on his behalf to put him on the seat of emperor. So the Chinese be doing weird things. But funny enough,
Bloodline.
Huh?
I think when Jin the Ninja was on here, he mentioned the whole like some family that actually like technically says they come from some dragon bloodline or some shit. Fucking weird.
It's the Yellow Emperor. He was of China. He's the only one that I know of. But he was said to be the son of a dragon, which by law in Hong Kong, this is by law. In Hong Kong, sections of skyscrapers have to be left empty, like as ways for dragons to fly through to go to and from the mountains, which is fucking phenomenal. That's even a thing. Like the structure, it's a skyscraper that is standing, and it has a big ass section like a Jenga piece missing, so that dragons can fly through it. Which the dragon is the only quote unquote mythical creature on the Chinese zodiac. But getting back to the Kyoto incident, it happened the night of August 14th and 15th. It was orchestrated by the ministers of war of Japan and many of the imperial guard. So like the emperor's like elite guards and everything. The objective was to place the emperor under house arrest, destroy the surrender tape, assassinate the Dovish Prime Minister Kentaro Suzuki, and the officers murdered Lieutenant General Takashi Mirai of First Imperial Guard and counterfeited a order of effect to Tokyo Palace as a cover to place the emperor under arrest. It failed to convince the high command of the military. The end result, it ended up with 4 suicides and 2 kills. The kills is Lieutenant Mirai, and it didn't mention the other kill, but the two of the famous suicides is General Anami and God Tanaka. So I think that's the fact that they actually tried to overthrow the emperor, which they failed, and even then, the emperor still surrendered. But because he surrendered and his cultural importance, the fact that he lost all of the emperor pretty much lost a lot of his rights, a lot like the monarchy did in Britain after World War I. But he is still quote unquote seen as a god figure in the Japanese culture. And actually, when his people actually first heard him, most of them didn't understand his dialect because he actually had a different dialect than the main dialect of Japan, because he talked with the older dialect because of his nobility. And the night like when he broadcasted his surrender was actually the first time most of his countrymen actually heard his voice. That's it. So
you know what sorry, just because you got me thinking about something else I always thought was weird. I always thought that I think most people here will agree that like World War II or even prior to that, it was like occult shit going on. And at one point,
the Soul Society.
Yeah, I think it was maybe even prior to that. What I'm just talking about is when Italy invaded. They went into Ethiopia, and they took an obelisk, the Line of Judah. So I mean that's like occult enough to me. But like one thing I thought was interesting about that is at the time that they did that, the person there, whoever was in charge, technically is saying that they are actually from the Solomonic bloodline.
Wow.
So I always wondered if that was something to do with it as well. Because if you even start thinking of Solomonic magic, you will start seeing a hexagram a lot too.
Oh yeah, boy.
Yeah, dude. I pointed this out on tinfoil hat. And
Nick, what are you doing? That's my line. What are you doing?
I pointed this out on tinfoil hat and got a little bit of pushback, asking if that was just what it was turned to, or if that's what it always has been.
The Golden Dawn was using that as a magical image before World War II.
I think that's what it's always been. I mean, there is always. Look, it's a hexagram for a reason. Right, it's created for a reason, and so
Yeah, so
guys, can we talk
World War II?
Can we really dig into the Saturnian symbolism? Because I think a lot of this stuff is really lost on a lot of people. When we talk about Saturnian symbolism, when it comes to the cube is the hexagram turned on its side. When you're looking straight ahead at the corner of a cube, it forms a hexagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you put the cube on your forehead, like they do in Japan, when you're talking about these hawk, or not hawk, but the crow-faced, what are they called? The crow-faced. You know it.
I do. I can't think of their name. They're like chicken ostriches looking motherfuckers. But like the beak of a chicken, but the feathers are like all puffed out.
Praxis.
No, it's not the chicken. It's specifically the crow. These were the crow men.
Crow?
They were part crow, part men, and they were Buddhist monks that lived on the side of mountains, and they had a little cube on their head. And
it's the Klasu Tango.
Oh, dude,
Well, instead of Jews put cubes on their head.
Tango.
Yeah,
yes.
dude. Okay, I didn't know what you were
It
talking
is the
about.
Tango.
And the Japanese.
Funny enough.
Let me pull a picture of this up. Hold on. I have to pull pictures of the Tengu up.
If I could, I'd actually drop the.
Look, this is a, we're not.
Funny enough, there's an actual picture of a Tengu. I sent it to my buddy who is Jewish, and it's him holding a scroll in one hand, right, and he's holding money in the other. His nose is big as fuck, and he has a little black cube on his hat. And the funny thing is, this is not me. This is the Japanese. They describe it as a troll-like figure from the mountains that is covetous of gold, and that it would also steal your women. So
it's gonna steal your women.
Computer.
I just there's the 6-pointed triangle in the Tetractus that is outlined subtly.
So was it stolen then? Was it stolen and used
No.
in Solomonic magic?
Nobunaga was waging war on the Buddhist bankers that were invading Japan.
Okay. Sorry.
yes, and he's also the direct ancestor. Well, not the direct, but he is an ancestor of the current emperor.
Right. Well, he was the first one that unified all of Japan from all of these different nations into one. And he did that by getting rid of the Buddhist bankers that were actually trying to divide up the place through banking practices. So these Buddhist bankers came in through China, and he depicted them as the Tengu, right? So let me pull this up real quick.
Yeah, here. I didn't see that you had a pic that was already ready. So,
yeah. Oh, there he is. Look, he's got the little cube on his forehead, and his arm is all wrapped up.
So he's a Talmudic rabbi, or he's like a Hasidic?
He's a Buddhist monk.
Whatever
Now, what's in common between the Buddhist monk and the Talmudic rabbi? Is they have this sort of nihilism, right? So the nihilism is important when you incorporate the ideas of Saturnian, Middle Eastern, and Mediterranean mythology, because the nihilism in that sort of system produces people that don't see any value in the native cultures, right? So they try to destroy all the other gods and then create sort of a black hole god of their own. Yeah, there's even an emoji for it, which is so strange. It would include that.
Oh boy, love you, JC.
So there is this idea of perfidy within that as well. So I would go back to the Orphic hymn to Saturn. The Orphic hymn to Saturn calls him the god of perfection and decrease. Perfection and decrease. That is very deceptively simple. What does perfection and decrease have to do with each other? If it's perfect, how can it decrease? right? So this is sort of the mystery within the idea of the Saturnian or the El or the Yahweh type God, is that it represents a type of nihilism and also simultaneously the golden age. So if you look at the book of Genesis, when they're talking about Adam and Eve, they're living in the golden age where they can unite with the God as soon as they want to. Everybody's trying to achieve this golden age. You can find this in communism as well. It's the achieving of the golden age where nobody wants for anything. Everybody's needs are immediately accomplished, to each according to their need, from each according to their ability. That idea has never played out fully in reality, and what you end up with is a failed society based upon the principles of perfection and decrease. Just like these ancient myths about El, which is so strange, the continuity when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah. Dude, El is a strange figure.
Nope.
Yeah, dude. Get into those Ubiquitous texts and the ball cycle, which is interesting to read, but very dark in nature, right? So
this is why I'm a pantheist, because once you start noticing, you can't stop, right?
Yeah, everywhere, across cultures and everything.
Yep. It pops up in the same thing. It's okay. So the gods are a persona. This is what I keep coming back to. If we really want to dig in and define what is a god, I find that it's very important to understand it's a personification of a sphere or a circle of influence. I said this on the very first episode that I was on with you. It is held up very well. That's my definition, a personification of a sphere of influence.
Yes.
So when you're defining the sphere of influence,
I agree.
You can start to see the persona emerge.
Especially in a vision or in a hallucinogenic state, or even like dreaming, right? Near-death experience. I mean, there's so many things, and people don't realize that what you experience in that setting is your perception, right? So a lot of people experience, Jesus, or if they're Muslim, they'll experience, I don't know, Muhammad or whoever, and like so on and so forth. And so it's just like,
Every vision,
I think you're right, Headless.
Every vision you have, even when we're looking at the screen right now, it's 50% you, 50% the outside world.
Yeah. People don't realize how strong their mental body is, man. And I tried to explain this over episodes and episodes and episodes. And I feel like some people are lost on it, and that's fine if they don't get it. It's not for them. But I've experienced it. And I know other people have, and I know it's the knowledge that has been told and passed down about it is very old, goes back probably thousands of years through tons of cultures. And so there's truth there, right? There is visible, there's viable truth, like physical. I mean, tangible, right? Like you can experience it,
Right.
We
are experiencing.
I have a question for you, Dylan.
Yeah, man.
So I can't help but to think, because I know that each and every one of you are very knowledgeable on different subjects and all. How do y'all feel? Like, do y'all think that the possibility, because the whole thing about the universe is everything is connected. You have the spirit world and the spirit realm, whether that is heaven, hell, or what have you. Personally, I believe there's heaven. I believe there's a hell, but I also believe there's an actual spirit, other type thing where things play into this world that we cannot always see. I believe personally, dragons are the interconnector. They can go from this world to the spirit realm. And we have mathematically proven that there's at least 15 different parallel universes running along with us. Actually, CERN came out and said, hey, we probably collapsed a couple of them. I think one of them along the line is a different dimension but it's laid right on top of ours. But instead of it being like a different dimension, what if it's like everything's concurrently running, but in a different spectrum of the UV light? Because our eyes don't see all of the fractals of the UV light spectrum. But what if not only that, they actually exist because we see in a certain thing, we exist in one plane, because they can intermingle because they're reptiles and everything, and they're allegedly gods and everything. They are of the spirit realm. They can go to and fro, a lot like how a lot of people think Bigfoot is interdimensional. I did a show with the Big Grambowski. And we had a guest on there that talked that Bigfoot was interdimensional. Me and my cousin personally think that he's an ape of great intelligence, not really an interdimensional being. How do y'all feel about dragons?
What do I think about dragons?
Yes, sir. Because I believe they actually existed. You have the fact that in Japan to China, from Japan, they say that when the dragons leave Japan and head towards China, they gain a toe. Which is the challenge. While in China, they say when the dragons leave China and go west, that towards like Japan, that they lose their toes, because that's a legend that goes both ways. And they also say that the dragons that both of them, they're not depicted like the European dragon or vipers with wings. They're depicted as long snakes with furry heads, which is a lot similar to the Mesoamerican dragon god Quetzalcoatl. See how different cultures that had no interplay with each other, for the most part, were depicting the same animal and worshiping them as gods and spiritual beings. So I think.
Do you want to get my?
Yeah, let's hear it, Headless.
Okay, so where is the dragon part of your brain?
I was going to bring up there is a dragon part of your brain.
Right. So we're talking about the
part is it?
The brain stem back here. It's like right where it touches your skull, and it produces that sort of reptilian brain. What does it govern? The basic functions of breathing and eating and all of these things that are, automatic, right? So if you think about the dragons as being sort of an automatic force in the universe, that actually applies to your own brain stem, which governs the autonomic surfaces of your body, right? Heartbeat, all the rest of the stuff that is regulated by that reptilian part of your brain. It's not a higher thinking function, which would include a lot more mammalian sort of ideas. But if you want to universalize that, it would make sense that there's something connected to the spirit world in our basic functioning as humans, right? The breath we breathe, the muscle contractions that we don't fully control. There is the idea that the dragon is in us at a primordial level. And so for me, the idea of the dragon is also ubiquitous. It's the drive to continue living in any way, shape, or form that is necessary.
Yeah, I would I just want to piggyback a little bit off the Headless. Yeah, I do think I guess it's quite possible there was dragons, but I do wonder this could explain all right, if the dragons were real, like you're saying, people at different parts of the world could see it. If it is actually talking about a vision that maybe people are seeing, people could possibly experience the same thing. I think if you're tapping into some sort of collective consciousness, people may have the same ideas, the same visions, so that's how people get in different areas could see it, or getting a little bit more scientific into it. If it was part of the brain, we all have that in our heads, so it doesn't matter where you are. If you cut somebody's head open, you're going to see it regardless of what country you're in.
y'all were the okay, so like there are animals that exist that fundamentally, quote unquote, evolution shouldn't really explain. That in Iran and Iraq, there's a snake. The I want to say it's the spider-tailed horned viper. It's a viper with it's at the base of its tail. It has this thing that looks like a spider, and it will move its tail in figure eights, and to as a way to lure prey there, because so they'll go after the quote unquote spider, and then it shoots out, and it's a venomous snake. It's a viper, but I think that there's, and even in that parts of the world, it talks about the angels falling down, the Watchers, and they start mating with the animals and fucking they're corrupting all of creation. What if what they did is lead? That's probably limited of it, but what if through their genetic fucking with that they created the dragons? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I wondered about genetic manipulation, even on people and animals.
Because the snake I'm talking about has me thinking, what? That's a living. That's an actual chimera. Because that it's a snake, but at the end of its tail is a spider. It just makes no sense to me.
Does it have legs?
No, but actually, funny enough, the T-Rex, they're thinking now that the little arms, because their bones were hollow,
Or wings.
They think maybe they were wings.
Yeah.
I got something for you. So what if you are what you eat? So both the viper and the spider and the bird are all parts of you, right? So think about the pineal gland. It's hanging over another surface that it's releasing hormones into, right? So
if it's not calcified.
Right. Well, there you go. Right. So what I'm saying is like the whole process of eating that bird by attracting it with the spider looking thing on the tail is actually part of how we come into form, how we are manifest. And these parts are put into the brain after years and years and years of development of using those same processes to change into something else. Again, we were talking about that liminal space earlier. It's like, what better liminal space is there between the kill and the eat? You know, it's interesting. That could change the shape of who we are and how we think.
I learned some qigong from this Chinese guy who didn't speak any English, and he was very convincing in the idea that there were dragons and essentially snake-like beings of non-physical origins that were everywhere and of all different sizes. And I mean, you know, that's take it how you want it, but also in a more, you know, photographed sense, what are these snakes that might be in the upper atmosphere? Have you guys ever seen these? I mean, that sounds crazy when I say it, I hear it out of my mouth, but there are these
snakes that fly.
Conscious plasma, right? Like conscious
I don't
plasma
know
taking
know what
form.
it is. Yeah, but something.
Right. So have you ever heard of the conscious plasma theory, Webb?
I have not. I cannot.
Go for it.
We've talked about it a few times on the show. The idea is, right. So like the idea is that maybe plasma is the conscious taking shape of life in the atmosphere, right? So we have all of these UFO experiences and all these other things. What if that is a type of thought that is then transmitted into the matter that creates these connections in strings of electrical impulses, right? So what we think of as UFOs, what we think of as these unidentified objects and all these strange things in our atmosphere. What if that's a reflection of some sort of conscious idea that is then organizing form into these different shapes based upon, electrical impulses and all the rest of this stuff? So you've got also ball lightning. How does it form a ball? What is the ball if not for a type of toroidal plasma?
Did you
right?
say ball?
Ball. So you've got these ball lightnings that. Go ahead.
They're talking about ball lightning and UFOs. Have y'all heard of the Foo Fighters from World War II? Not the band that came from Nirvana, but the actual the quote unquote original UAP from the 40s, which the pilots were like, "Hey, these things are happening," and the Army Air Corps officers like, "Yeah, we know they're happening. Don't worry about it. Just don't shoot at them." But like they were outrunning our P1, I want to say P-51 Mustangs. They're outrunning them. They're outrunning the twin fucking engine interceptors. Like they were outrunning our fastest planes at that point in time. Which funny enough, I did an episode about a UFO crash in the 1890s. So
I think it's funny that the band Foo Fighters would be so influential in our generations, and it's basically what they're talking about is something so unknown that these pilots didn't have any words for it. They just sort of came up with their own words, and then that became this sort of influential, inspirational force for a lot of bands and a lot of inspiration. I think when it comes down to it, the idea of these electrical impulses in our brains forming their own neural network and connections could have something to do with how maybe plasma forms consciousness, right? So maybe the eyes are a type of plasma collectors. It's all electromagnetic spectrum. That's what light is, essentially. So what if the unexplained and the unknown actually expands our brains in such a way that brings us this inspiration, and that stuff has a form all its own, maybe not completely formed within our reality, but a little bit changed from just being the standard universal background noise.
that's awesome. But again, gentlemen, it's been an honor meeting y'all, having these conversations.
I want to talk about Godzilla in those terms, right? Because this is connected to the rivers of Japan, which have a lot of electrical potential, right? I mean, you can find all of these river spirits all over the world. What if they're tapping into something that is exactly. So it brings us back to that basic cosmology. Is it the earth and the sky, or is it this primordial chaotic water, which are all electrically based?
What's beyond the sky?
Well, the firmament is said to separate the waters from above from the waters below. Which I think when God did the flood, he busted to open the firmament. The ocean, the waters above came crashing down. That's why it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And that's why we have the quote unquote ozone layer now. I believe that's the whole where God said, you know what? Y'all are in a snow globe, fuck y'all. To whack. Y'all should have listened. And that's how we have the ozone layer. In my personal thought.
Have you ever heard of Deucalion and Pyrrha?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Deucalion and Pyrrha is the Greek form of the Noah myth. And so Deucalion and Pyrrha.
Gilgamesh.
It's very similar. They took a lot from Gilgamesh. I was actually reading tonight about Lucifer. Lucifer is an interesting concept that came out of the Mesopotamian. Originally, the Greek thought was that the star of the morning and the star of the evening, the Hesperides and the Eosphorus, were two different stars, right? So what it turns out is that Venus will appear in the sky in the evening 1/3 of the year, and the star of the morning will appear in the sky during 1/3 of the year during the morning. So Eosphorus and Hesperides were the same star, and they took that from the Mesopotamian astronomers and incorporated that in their own myths. So the star of the morning and the star of the evening are the same star, and they understood that in a way where they were trying to mythologize and personify these forces. So Lucifer, being the star of the morning, is the same Venus as the one that shows up later on as the star of the evening. So that's a interesting connection, because it gets demonized as this force. But if you think about the star of the morning, it shows up before the sunrise, and it gets brighter and brighter before the sun completely comes up. But once the sun completely comes up, it disappears. That's why they called it Eosphorus, the son of the morning star. And even Jesus is called the son of the morning star in the New Testament.
He calls himself the morning star.
Yeah. Right. So what are we supposed to take from these myths, if not for understanding there is a link to the heavens? And if you think about the heavens, in outer space, plasma is self-organizing, right? So all of these stars, all of these planets, all of this stuff, they self-organize based upon the electrical impulses in those energy clouds, just like atoms do with electron clouds that orbit the nucleus. So all of this stuff is as above, so below. And unless we have that perspective, we're not seeing everything for what it really is, I think.
I agree. I mean, if you can't look at it esoterically, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing here? Because I mean, that's the only way to experience something, right? I mean, that's how you explain it. That's, besides the other way through just learning about it, right? I don't know.
Personally, I think you gotta keep an open mind, because at least an open mind, that way you can get a new perspective and a new look, so you can better understand what the topic. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If you just keep the same view and the same set of eyes or the angle of view on something, you'll never grow as a person, and you'll never grow to a better understanding.
Absolutely.
Strings of fate.
You're not living.
Strings of fate. We're doomed to cyclicality if we can't expand our perspective. Our perspective is only 50% of the universe. The other 50% is the outside world. And if we can't identify and personify with that outside world, we cut ourselves off from growth and change.
Right. And your spiritual path, a path is something that you walk and you traverse, and it goes through winds and turns and changes. And, and this is, I mean, I just don't understand people who can't recognize that, but they recognize the exoteric only. And it's just, I don't know. It's like recognizing something that's completely hollow, right?
Basic term, right? Almost,
or like, I don't know. I don't know how to put it.
Nothing is hollow. Everything has depth.
No
spiritually hollow, dude.
Right.
Spiritually hollow.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me.
But, starting with the headless giant, and we'll work our way down. Tell them where they can catch you at again.
You can find me at the Headless Giant on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, and if you want, you can check me and Ethan out this Sunday. We're going to be doing another trialogue, whether or not Ricardo's there. We had a great time last Sunday. It was an awesome time. And we're going to be doing I'm going to show up for Gods of the Morning Wood tomorrow. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, I'm going to be there.
Yes, indeed.
I'll definitely
Ethan, you're invited as well, man.
Fuck yeah, that shit was fun.
I'll try to be there.
Yep.
It'll be a couple hours long. So,
and if you have any strange occult / mystical stories, you could send them to the Headless Giant Podcast at gmail.com, and we will read those on Thursday. So get those emails in there. We love to syncretize in a way that is very fair to all parties. So check it out. Thank you.
All right. You want me to go next there, Sam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Up next is you, big dog.
Yeah. The Occult Rejects. Yeah. One thing I do want to promote for tomorrow, I think 7:30. We got Richard Ruach coming on. He's a returning guest, and Colin Concrete coming on to talk about Fourth Way and Gurdjieff shit. So that should be interesting. Yeah.
Dude. Rat. Check that out, Rat.
Yeah. We got that. Pretty cool guys. They've been on separately, and they're our friends, so they were wanted to jump on the show together and talk some shit. So should be pretty interesting. So check that out. And the Occult Rejects and occultresearchinstitute.org. Check that all out. Thank you.
All right, got that link in the description on my channels as well. Occult Research Institute. Shouts out the Occult Rejects. Thank you guys for having me tonight. And Sam, I'm guessing this is going to be the first of many episodes. Hopefully that will catch each other on. It was good meeting you, man. It's also good seeing all my fellow rejects as well. Guys, find me on X at GreatPool Pod, Instagram GreatPool_podcast, Rumble, YouTube. I think I may be past 1,000 by now. I don't know. Try to get me past there if I'm not. Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because they won't let me on Spreaker. And then you can go to patreon.com/GreatPool Podcast, support the show. Gods of the Morning Wood tomorrow morning. Mysteries of the Druids Part 4 and Aquarian Gospel Part 2. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central, I guess. So if y'all want to get into Gurdjieff, you can check out the Occult Rejects. But if you want to come talk about who knows what the fuck with me and Jose Galison, I will be on No Way Jose tomorrow night. Yeah. And I think it's a live show. It may be a Patreon show for him, but I think I'm pretty sure it's a live show. I think he does live show Saturday night. I've seen him do it before. Then Sunday around noon, I want to say noon Central, maybe 1. I'm having Jacob from Rise to Liberty on my show. It's going to be good. He's the producer for Already Dead. Shouts out all the boys on Already Dead, Jose, Jacob, and Austin. So that means I have to do a show with Austin soon as well. And then Sunday night, I believe at 6 Central, we are, I want to say 6 Central, I think, Nick. That may be 6 Eastern, I don't know. We are going on Divulgence. Me,
yes,
Headless,
6 p.m. EST.
Maybe Brandon. I
yes.
think. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. You, Brandon, and Headless.
Okay. So we're going to hang out with Brandon again. And it's my 3rd time on there. He keeps inviting me back. So thank you, Brandon. But guys, also, if you want to support the show and you want to get some cool threads, like this hoodie, I got another hoodie in there, some shirts. You'll see it throughout the weekend. You go to graypilled.printify.me. The shipping is a little but it's it's kind of worth it. I mean, I even pay it, so it's whatever. You gotta get it shipped to you. It is the cheaper shipping option. Actually, it may not be, so maybe I'll change it to you. I don't know. I'm trying to do a sale for the patrons as well. And Tyranny mentioned movie earlier. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, guys. Tyranny mentioned a movie earlier. Maybe not tonight. I know someone just said Holy Mountain. You want me to Holy Mountain you?
That's a good movie.
We could do it.
Fucking
we could do
great
it on a
movie.
stream. I'd want to do it on a stream. That'd be cool. But I don't know. Maybe later tonight, you guys hop on the Discord if you have the link. If you're part of the Patreon, you probably have the link. I'll send it out in the chats as well.
Sounds like a Saturday night movie to me, actually.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably stream it on my channel, but we get on Discord if I'm up late. And right now, you know, I'm about to go hang out with my kid for a little bit, probably till he passes out. But
hell yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys again. This was fun. I love shows like this. So more of this. I like it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Sam. I appreciate you. That was awesome discussion. And guys, always great talking with you and seeing you. Ethan Indigo Smith on all the social media. I'm a writer, author, and several books out there on the Global Com. So yeah, easy to find. And yeah, see you Sunday, if not sooner.
So thank you all joining the Web of Mysteries, which shout out to everybody that came, and make sure you subscribe and follow these nice gentlemen. They were awesome. But this has been the Web of Mystery. Good night, just pull it wherever you want. Blessed be the chaos. I'm Sam. That's Cal. And
what's up, Cal?
Chaos, y'all.
What's up, dude? I see you back there, homie. You're good. You chill. Just chill. Just chill back there. You're good. We love you, dude.
But, much love from the Queen.
Later.